My name is Mia. I'm 24 years old, and I work at a small travel agency in New York City. We help people book flights, hotels, and holiday trips. I've been working here for 2 years. I like my job. It's not always exciting, but the people are nice. My boss is Mr. Carter. He's in his early 40s, polite, kind, and always professional. Every morning, he says good morning to everyone when he walks in. And whenever I finish a task, he thanks me. One Tuesday morning, I was sitting at my desk, checking flight prices for a customer. The office was quiet, only a few people were around. Then I heard voices coming from Mr. Carter's office. His door was slightly open. I didn't mean to listen, but his voice was clear. He was on the phone, speaking softly. She's amazing. She's the perfect one for this. I really like her energy. My fingers froze above the keyboard. I looked at the door. Was he talking about me? Then he said, she works hard. She's smart. She has the right attitude. I've been watching her for a while now. My eyes went wide. Is this really happening? Is he really talking about me? I remembered last week when I handed him the new travel report. He smiled at me and said, "Great job, Mia." One morning, he even bought me a coffee. I thought it was just a kind gesture, but now, maybe it meant something more. Last month, he remembered my birthday. He gave me a small chocolate bar and said, "I hope you enjoy your day." Was it possible that he had feelings for me? I glanced nervously at my desk, pretending to focus on my work. My heart was racing. His words echoed in my mind over and over, "I really like her, she's amazing." I started remembering all the little things, his smile when I finished a report, the way he lingered near my desk, the coffee, the chocolate on my birthday. It all suddenly felt different. My chest tightened. My heart was beating so fast I thought everyone might hear it. What did this mean? Would things at work change now? Lena, my friend, noticed my distracted state and gave me a teasing smile. "You look like you just saw a ghost, or maybe your crush confessed to you," she whispered, nudging my shoulder. I laughed nervously. "Nothing, just a little tired," I said. But inside, I felt anything but normal. Every time Mr. Carter looked in my direction, every time he smiled, I couldn't help but wonder, was it just kindness, or was it something more? By lunchtime, I was restless. Every glance, every small gesture from him kept looping in my mind. Could he really feel something for me? A small spark had ignited inside me. Something had shifted in the office air, and I couldn't ignore it. I didn't know whether it would lead to something wonderful, or something complicated. One thing was certain, my heart had just stepped into dangerous territory, and there was no turning back. After that morning, everything at the office felt different. I couldn't stop noticing him. Every time Mr. Carter walked past my desk, I felt my stomach twist in a mix of excitement and nervousness. Was it just my imagination, or did he linger a fraction longer than usual? During the morning meeting, I caught him glancing at me more than once. Just for a second, then quickly looking away. My heart skipped every time. I tried to focus on the discussion, but I found myself watching his face instead, how his eyebrows furrowed when he was thinking, the small crease that appeared when he smiled. I had always admired him from afar, but now those small details felt different. Charged. Later, Lena leaned over my desk with that teasing grin again. "You're acting weird today. Daydreaming about Mr. Perfect?" I flushed and laughed, though my mind was far from amused. "I'm fine," I said quickly, returning my attention to the screen. But I could feel the blush creeping up my neck. By mid-afternoon, it happened again. He walked by my desk, holding a stack of papers. Our eyes met, just for a second, but that second stretched long enough for my heart to pound. He gave me a small, polite smile, but my mind screamed that there was something more in it. Something personal. I caught myself thinking about every small gesture from him in the past weeks, the coffee, the chocolate, the approving nods. I had always written them off as professional courtesy, but now I couldn't. Everything seemed like a clue. A sign. Throughout the day, I found myself overanalyzing every interaction. When he asked me a simple question about a booking, I hung on his words longer than necessary. When he walked past my desk, I almost wanted to say something, anything, to see if he would linger too. But I didn't. I couldn't. I tried to push the thoughts away, telling myself it was dangerous to imagine things. He was my boss. A serious relationship, if it was even possible, could ruin everything. And yet, I couldn't stop hoping. By the end of the day, the office was nearly empty. I was filing the last reports when I felt him behind me. "Mia," he said softly. I turned, startled, and our eyes met again. He gave me a small nod. "Thanks for staying late to finish this. I appreciate it." I managed a smile, my cheeks warming. "Of course," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He lingered just a moment longer than necessary, and my chest tightened. Was it possible he wanted to say more? Or was I imagining it? When he finally left, I leaned back in my chair, my mind spinning. Why does every little glance feel like something? I wondered. Every eye contact, every smile, every small gesture felt loaded now. I didn't know if he was aware of the effect he had on me, or if he even felt the same, but I couldn't ignore it. Lena noticed my dazed expression as I packed my bag. "Mia, seriously, you've got it bad. And I've got to say, he's giving you all kinds of signals." I laughed nervously, but deep down, I couldn't deny it. She was right. I had noticed the way he looked at me, the way he remembered little things about me, the way he stayed just long enough to make me wonder. And now, after overhearing that call, every glance and gesture felt like a puzzle I desperately wanted to solve. As I walked home that evening, I couldn't stop replaying the moments in my mind. I knew one thing for sure, something had shifted between us, and it was impossible to ignore. The question was, would he act on it? Or was it just me, imagining everything? Either way, I had no idea how long I could keep my feelings contained. It was a Monday morning, and I tried my best to act normal. But I couldn't stop thinking about my birthday coming up that week. I had mentioned it casually to Lena a few weeks ago, but other than that, no one at the office seemed to care much. Mr. Carter, of course, arrived at the usual time. He greeted everyone with his usual calm politeness. When he reached my desk, he smiled. "Good morning, Mia," he said, just a little longer than usual. My stomach fluttered. The day passed like any other, though I noticed his small gestures, the way he handed me a pen when I needed one, the way he nodded at my work with that quiet approval that always made my heart jump. Then, near the end of the day, Lena nudged me. "Hey, I think someone wants to surprise you," she whispered with a grin. Before I could ask, Mr. Carter appeared at my desk, holding a small, neatly wrapped box. My hands froze. This is for you," he said softly, placing it in front of me. I stared at it. "For me?" I whispered. "Yes," he replied, smiling. I didn't forget. I felt heat rise to my cheeks. I had never received a gift from a boss before. The thought that he remembered my birthday without anyone reminding him made my heart thump wildly. I carefully unwrapped the box. Inside was a small, elegant bracelet. A note rested beneath it, written in neat handwriting, "Happy birthday, Mia. I hope today brings you a little happiness." I looked up at him, speechless. He just smiled gently. "I thought you'd like it." I felt a rush of emotion I couldn't quite control. My chest tightened, and my mind went blank. I love it," I finally managed to say. "Thank you so much." His smile lingered, and I felt a strange warmth spread through me. Something about the way he looked at me, calm, sincere, and focused, made my heart feel like it could burst. The rest of the office barely noticed the small interaction, but for me, the world had shifted. I found myself stealing glances at him throughout the day, replaying the moment over and over. Lena couldn't resist teasing me later. See? I told you. He likes you, she whispered, smirking. I laughed nervously, but inside, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Did he really like me? Or was this just a kind, thoughtful gesture from a boss? But deep down, after everything I had noticed, his small smiles, his lingering looks, and the words I had overheard, I couldn't shake the hope that it meant something more. By the end of the day, I was walking home with the bracelet on my wrist, the little note carefully tucked into my bag. Every time I glanced at it, my heart skipped a beat. I didn't know how he felt about me exactly, and I didn't know what the future held. But one thing was certain, the spark between us was growing, and I was powerless to stop it. For the first time, I felt the exciting, terrifying thrill that maybe, just maybe, something more could be possible between Mia and Mr. Carter. That Thursday evening, the office was nearly empty. Most of the staff had left hours ago, leaving only the soft hum of computers and the occasional shuffle of papers. I was finishing a few last-minute bookings when I noticed Mr. Carter still at his desk, quietly reviewing reports. "Looks like it's just the two of us tonight," he said, looking up and smiling faintly. I felt my heart skip a beat. Just the two of us. The words echoed in my mind as I tried to steady my racing pulse. "Yes," I replied, my voice sounding steadier than I felt. "I just wanted to make sure all the bookings for tomorrow are finalized." He nodded and walked over to my desk. "I'll help you double-check. That way we can both leave on time." His presence was calm but somehow, intense. I noticed the way he lingered near my chair, not out of necessity, but as if he wanted to be there. We worked in silence for a few minutes, the soft tapping of our keyboards filling the space. Then he cleared his throat, breaking the quiet. "Mia. I just wanted to say, I appreciate your dedication. You always notice the little details, and it makes a huge difference." I felt a warm flutter in my chest. "Thank you, that means a lot." There was a pause, a brief moment where our eyes met. Something unspoken lingered in the air. I could feel it, the subtle pull between us, the unacknowledged tension that had been building for weeks. "I sometimes worry I push you too hard," he continued, his voice quieter now. "I don't want to make things uncomfortable." I shook my head, almost laughing nervously. "No. I like working with you. I learn a lot." My words came out more awkward than I intended, and I quickly looked down at my screen. He chuckled softly, a low, pleasant sound that made my stomach twist. "I'm glad to hear that. Truly." Another pause. I could feel my heart hammering in my chest. The room felt smaller, charged with a tension that wasn't there when the office was full of people. Then, unexpectedly, he leaned slightly closer over the desk, glancing at the report I was reviewing. "You know, Mia, you have a way of making even the most boring tasks seem interesting," he said, his eyes meeting mine for just a second longer than necessary. I felt heat rise to my cheeks. I try," I whispered, barely audible. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence was heavy, but not uncomfortable, strange and electric. I could feel every small movement, every subtle glance, as if the world had shrunk to just the two of us. Finally, he straightened, giving me a small, almost shy smile. "Well, we're done here. You can head out if you want." I nodded, my hands trembling slightly as I gathered my things. "Thank you for staying late with me." He hesitated, then said softly, "I didn't mind. I enjoy our time together, even if it's just work." I swallowed hard. My pulse was racing, my mind a whirlwind. Enjoy our time together. Did he mean that the way I thought he did? Or was it just professional courtesy? I didn't know, but my heart wanted to believe the first. As I walked to the door, I glanced back at him. He gave me one last smile, lingering in a way that made me wonder if he wanted to say more. My stomach twisted with a mix of anticipation and nervousness. That night, as I walked home, I replayed every word, every glance, every subtle gesture. I knew one thing for certain, the distance between boss and employee had shifted. Something more had begun. And no matter how careful I tried to be, I couldn't stop the growing feelings inside me. By the following Monday, the office felt different. I couldn't tell if it was just me noticing, or if others had started to pick up on something between Mr. Carter and me. I was at my desk when I heard soft laughter from across the room. Lena leaned toward her colleague and whispered something, then glanced at me, smirking. My stomach tightened. I wasn't sure if it was curiosity, teasing, or suspicion, but I felt exposed. A few minutes later, I caught snippets of conversation while walking past the break room. "Did you see the way Carter looked at Mia?" one coworker said quietly. Another replied, "Yeah, maybe there's more than just work there." I froze. No, this can't be happening, I thought. Rumors at the office could spread like wildfire. I had to be careful. I had never been one for gossip, and now the smallest glance, the tiniest gesture I had shared with him could be blown out of proportion. Yet, despite the worry, a strange thrill ran through me. The fact that people were noticing, maybe that meant something. Maybe it meant he wasn't just being kind or polite. Maybe he did feel something. All day, I found myself overthinking every interaction with him. When he asked about a booking, I lingered a little longer than necessary on my response. When he passed my desk, I caught his eye and held the look for just a second too long. Every small movement between us felt loaded, and I was acutely aware of every pair of eyes that might be watching. Lena leaned over during lunch, whispering with a mischievous grin. "You're glowing today. I think the office is onto something." I laughed nervously, but deep down, I couldn't shake the anxiety. I can't let this interfere with my work, but I also can't stop thinking about him. By the end of the day, whispers had spread more widely. I overheard a few coworkers speculating in the hallway. I wanted to disappear, to avoid their eyes and questions, but part of me couldn't help noticing how subtly thrilling it was. There was tension now, delicate, dangerous tension, and it pulsed every time Mr. Carter looked my way. When he passed by my desk with a folder, he gave me that small, private smile. Nothing more. But it was enough to make my heart leap. I knew the rumors, the office gossip, none of it mattered when he looked at me like that. Walking home that evening, I felt both exhilarated and terrified. The office had become a minefield of speculation. I had to be careful, not just for my career, but for my heart. And yet, every glance from him made it harder to resist imagining what could happen if the two of us finally admitted what we were both feeling. Something had changed, and I was caught between the excitement of what might be and the fear of what could go wrong. It was Wednesday evening when I got the email from Mr. Carter. "Mia, can you join me for dinner to discuss tomorrow's client presentation? I'd like to go over a few details in person." I paused for a moment, staring at the screen. Dinner, to discuss work. My rational mind told me it was professional, just a meeting. But my heart? My heart skipped a beat. I spent the next hour overthinking what to wear, what to say, and how to act. When I arrived at the small Italian restaurant he had chosen, I found him already seated, looking calm and composed as always. But the moment he saw me, his eyes softened, and I felt that familiar flutter in my stomach. "Good evening, Mia," he said warmly. "Thank you for coming." "Of course," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady, though it probably sounded a little breathless. We ordered dinner, discussing the client presentation with a mix of professional detail and casual conversation. Yet, beneath every word, there was an unspoken tension. Every glance he threw my way lingered just a moment too long. Every subtle smile made my heart thump. At one point, as I explained a minor change in the itinerary, he reached across the table, not touching, just a hand hovering near mine, and said softly, "I really appreciate your attention to detail. It makes a huge difference." I felt my cheeks flush. "Thank you, that means a lot coming from you." There was a brief silence, one that felt charged and intimate. I could sense him watching me carefully, his expression unreadable but intense. I caught myself staring back, wondering if he noticed how fast my heart was beating. After the main course, he leaned back slightly, his gaze still on me. Mia. I'm glad we did this. Sometimes it's easier to talk about things outside the office. I nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Yes, it's nice, I murmured. The way he said my name made my pulse race. I caught a waiter approaching and excused myself briefly to the restroom, my hands trembling slightly. When I returned, he had already ordered dessert, and the small shared plate between us felt like another layer of intimacy. Throughout the evening, I realized how much I was noticing him, not just his professional composure, but the warmth in his eyes, the subtle way he leaned in when we spoke, the way his smile lingered just a little longer when he laughed. By the time the check arrived, I felt both exhilarated and nervous. Dinner had started as a professional meeting, but every moment had felt personal, almost like a date without words. As we walked to the car, he turned to me, giving a small, sincere smile. Thank you for tonight, Mia. Your insight means more than you know. Thank you for inviting me, I whispered, feeling the weight of the tension between us. I knew this dinner had changed everything. Whatever this was between us, it wasn't just professional anymore. And the thought both thrilled and terrified me. That Friday afternoon, the office felt unusually quiet. I was finishing some paperwork when I noticed Mr. Carter standing by my desk, his expression serious but calm. My heart skipped a beat. Mia, he said softly, can we talk for a moment? I nodded, trying to steady my breathing. Something in his tone made me uneasy, but also excited. He led me to the small meeting room, closing the door behind us. The air felt heavier, charged with something unspoken. I need to be honest with you, he began, his eyes meeting mine. This isn't easy for me, but I can't keep it inside any longer. My pulse quickened. Oh no, is this about work? Did I do something wrong? He shook his head slightly, as if reading my thoughts. No, it's not about work. It's about us, about me. I swallowed hard. You mean? My voice caught in my throat. Yes, he said, taking a small step closer. I've tried to ignore it, tried to maintain professional boundaries, but I can't. Mia. I like you. More than just as my employee. I've liked you for a while, and I couldn't keep it to myself any longer. My heart was pounding so fast I thought it might burst. I stared at him, trying to process his words. He likes me, he really likes me. I don't know what to say, I whispered. I felt something too, but I wasn't sure if it was just me imagining things. He gave a small, relieved smile. It's not just you. I see it in the way you look at me, in the little things you do. I just didn't know how to tell you without risking everything. I felt a mixture of relief, excitement, and fear. My hands trembled slightly as I reached out unconsciously, but stopped halfway. But, we have to be careful, I said softly. The office, my career. He nodded, understanding in his eyes. I know. I don't want to make things difficult for you, or for either of us. But I couldn't keep pretending there was nothing between us. For a few moments, we just stood there, the tension and emotions hanging between us. I realized that everything I had felt, the lingering glances, the small gestures, the way my heart raced when he was near, had been real. I like you too, I finally admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. His smile widened, and for the first time, I saw vulnerability behind his composed exterior. That makes me very happy, he said softly. The room felt smaller, the world outside irrelevant. We both knew that nothing official could happen yet, that the office was still a delicate place. But for that moment, honesty had bridged the gap between us. I left the meeting room with a fluttering heart, my mind spinning. The confession changed everything. There was no turning back now, feelings were out in the open, and the next steps, though uncertain, were ours to navigate together. The week after his confession, everything felt different at the office. Every glance, every word, every small gesture carried weight. I had to remind myself constantly to remain professional, but it was harder than I imagined. I found myself replaying that moment over and over, his quiet honesty, the way his eyes softened when he looked at me, the vulnerability behind his composed exterior. And I couldn't deny it, I liked him too. More than I'd admitted even to myself. Yet, a small, insistent voice whispered warnings in my mind. He's your boss. The office. Your career. What if this goes wrong? That afternoon, I sat at my desk, papers spread out in front of me, but I wasn't really working. I was thinking about him, about us. I realized that I had a choice to make: continue keeping my feelings locked away, safe but unfulfilled, or take a risk and embrace what I felt for him, despite the possible consequences. When Mr. Carter approached my desk, I looked up, heart pounding. He stopped a few feet away, giving me that gentle smile I had come to crave. "Mia," he said softly, "I don't want to pressure you. I want to know how you feel. Honestly." I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. This is it. I have to decide. I paused, searching for the right words. I like you. I've liked you for a long time. I was just scared, because of work. But I can't deny how I feel. His smile widened, relief and happiness mingling in his expression. I feel the same. I know it's complicated, but I'm willing to take the risk if you are. I felt warmth spread through me, a mix of joy and nervous anticipation. The choice wasn't easy, but in that moment, my heart told me what I wanted. I couldn't let fear hold me back. I'm willing, I whispered, my hands trembling slightly. He stepped closer, giving me a reassuring look. Then we'll figure it out, together. Carefully, professionally, but honestly. A wave of relief and happiness washed over me. Finally, the tension, the longing, the uncertainty, all of it had led to this moment. For the first time, I felt truly seen, truly wanted, and truly ready to take the leap. The office still mattered. My career still mattered. But now, love mattered too. And for the first time, I realized I could have both, carefully, cautiously, and honestly, with Mr. Carter by my side. As I returned to my work, I felt lighter, braver, and filled with a quiet joy I had never known before. Whatever the future held, I knew that I had chosen the path that felt right in my heart. And for me, that was worth everything. Thank you for watching this emotional love story on the Love Chapter by Aree. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more heart-touching stories. Tell us in the comments which country or place you are watching from. We'd love to know where our family of viewers is growing around the world.